You wake up at 6:47 in the morning. It is 7 minutes before your alarm is set to go off. Your body already knows the routine. You have been doing this for over 10,000 days at the same company. You tell yourself this is security. You tell yourself it is about the good salary and the stability. But as you stare at the ceiling, there is a heavy feeling you cannot shake. You are making more money than your parents ever dreamed of, and yet somehow you feel more broke than they ever were. In the moments ahead, I am going to show you why this is not a coincidence. It is by design. This is the retirement trap. Let me introduce you to someone like Sarah. She is 55 years old and earns $95,000 a year. On paper, she is a success story. She should feel wealthy and prepared for the future. She does not. Sarah gets paid every 2 weeks. Before taxes, her check looks impressive. But before she even sees the money, it begins to disappear. The system does not give her a choice. It fragments her wealth across invisible channels. Taxes take a massive bite first. Then comes the health insurance premiums that seem to rise every year. By the time the money hits her bank account, nearly half of it is already spoken for. Rent or mortgage payments take another large chunk. Groceries and basic utilities consume what is left. By the time the next payday arrives, Sarah often has less than $100 left. This is the first weapon of the trap. It is the illusion of prosperity through fragmentation. When your money leaves in small pieces, your brain never grasps that you are just treading water. You have a lifestyle, but you do not have wealth. Think about the education we were all told to get. You might have gone into debt for that degree. Then, you found a job to pay back that investment. The moment you accepted that higher salary, something shifted. Your lifestyle automatically inflated to match your new income. Economists call this lifestyle inflation. I call it the second trap. You got the promotion, and suddenly you could afford a nicer car. Your monthly payment went from $300 to $600. You moved to a better neighborhood with higher property taxes and fees. Each increase in salary felt like freedom at the time, but each one actually tightened the handcuffs. You are no longer free to leave that job. You need that exact salary just to maintain the life you built. This is what it means to wear golden handcuffs. The system did not force you into this. It simply presented the options and let human psychology do the rest. We often see progress as moving up in status, not as getting richer. A person making $200,000 can be just as trapped as someone making $50,000. If their lifestyle requires every penny, they are not free. The salary does not determine your freedom. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is the only thing that matters. And the system is engineered to keep that gap as small as possible. Consider the invisible tax of modern convenience. Every subscription service and every delivery app is a tiny hole in your boat. We trade our future freedom for the comfort of a button press. $5 here and $10 there may seem insignificant today. But over 30 years, those tiny leaks become a flood that drowns your retirement. The system wants you to stay busy and distracted. If you are always chasing the next upgrade, you will never have the time to question the engine. Let us look at the reality of retirement savings today. According to recent data from the Federal Reserve, the median household approaching retirement has about $200,000 saved. To many, $200,000 sounds like a significant amount of money. But when you apply the math of a safe withdrawal rate, the truth is staggering. Using a conservative rate of 3.5%, that portfolio only generates $7,000 a year. That is less than $600 per month. Even with Social Security, most people find themselves facing a massive gap. The average Social Security benefit is around $1,950. Combine that with your savings, and you're looking at a very lean existence. It is not the golden years you were promised. It is a struggle to cover the rising costs of healthcare and housing. Recent estimates suggest a couple retiring today will need over $300,000 just for medical expenses. If most of your wealth is tied up in the equity of your home, you cannot spend it. You cannot use your kitchen cabinets to pay for a doctor visit. You cannot use your drywall to buy groceries. Unless you sell the home or take on more debt, that equity remains locked away. This is the hidden wall of the retirement trap. There's also the heavy weight of social comparison. We often spend money we do not have to impress people we do not even like. We feel the pressure to keep up with neighbors who are also drowning in debt. This is the cycle of appearing successful while being fundamentally fragile. True wealth is what you do not see. It is the cars not bought and the luxury items left on the shelf. So why do so few people reach the milestone of true financial independence? It is because we are taught to value today over tomorrow. It is easier to buy the new phone or book the expensive vacation now. Sending that money to an account you cannot touch for 20 years feels like a loss. But the reality is that the early dollars are the most powerful. Most people reach their 50s and suddenly realize they are behind. They start saving aggressively, but they have missed the best years of compounding. Compounding is the engine that does the heavy lifting for you, but it requires time to start working. The first $100,000 is always the hardest to save. At that stage, your own contributions are doing all the work. But once you pass that tipping point, the math shifts in your favor. Your money begins to earn more than you contribute. Eventually, your money can earn more than your actual job pays. That is the moment the trap begins to break. But most people stop just before this acceleration happens. They get frustrated by the slow progress and spend the money elsewhere. They trade their future freedom for a temporary comfort. Think about the legacy you want to leave behind. Most people want to help their children and grandchildren. But the greatest gift you can give your family is your own financial independence. By not becoming a financial burden in your 80s, you are providing them with true security. To escape the trap, you must stop confusing income with wealth. A high salary is just income. Savings and productive assets are wealth. One is temporary and requires your labor. The other is permanent and works while you sleep. The goal is to become independent from the requirement of a paycheck. The moment you do not need the money, you're finally free. You can negotiate better terms at work or walk away from toxic situations. You can take risks that were once impossible. Awareness is the first step toward dismantling the system. Once you see the trap, you cannot unsee it. You start asking different questions about where your money goes. You stop focusing on how to earn more and start focusing on how to keep more. You intentionally keep your expenses lower than your income. This is what I call attacking the gap. Every dollar added to the gap is a soldier fighting for your freedom. This feels backward in a world that constantly tells you to consume, but it is the only mechanism that actually works. Imagine if you quit your job tomorrow. How many months could you survive without a paycheck? If the answer is less than 6 months, you are still inside the trap, but you do not have to stay there. Consider downsizing your life before the system forces you to. A smaller home or a more reliable used car can unlock thousands of dollars every year. That money, when invested, becomes your escape pod. The people who break free are not just lucky or smarter. They simply decided that freedom was more important than status. They understood that a comfortable prison is still a prison. The retirement trap is sophisticated and invisible, but it is not inescapable. Every dollar you save and invest today is a brick in the wall of your future freedom. Every time you resist an unnecessary upgrade, you're buying back your time. You have the choice to decide what your future looks like. Do not let the system decide it for you. Focus on building assets that provide cash flow and security. Focus on the gap between your earnings and your needs. This is the path to a life that is not dependent on a company or a government. This is the path to actual financial independence. It requires discipline and a long-term perspective that most people lack. But the reward is a level of peace that money cannot buy. It is the ability to wake up and own your day completely. If you found this perspective valuable, consider following this journey. We explore the hidden systems that control your finances and how to beat them. Each step forward brings you closer to the life you deserve. Thank you for listening. I will see you in the next chapter of your journey.